Hello, good morning everybody. This is Charlene from XUCPA. We're really glad that you are joining us this morning about Paycheck Protection Program loan forgiveness. Before we get started, I kind of want to show you some very interesting facts. So the first tranche of funds, as you know, the amount of money that people receive amounted to about 349 billion, and you know that this tranche of funds actually went out very quickly in less than 7 days, right? So the second time when the president signed a bill, it was 310 billion. So all in all together is 659 billion of funds that have been released. And on average, according to SBA, the loan size that has been approved, it ranges between 100,000 to 200,000. And if you do the math, you're looking at around 3 million businesses to 6.5 million businesses will receive PPP funds, which means, honestly, the range of people that are going to be receiving this funding for PPP, it ranges from 10 to 20%, not more than 25%. So if you're attending this webinar, I just want to say congratulations. You have received the funds and you are probably the 2 or 3 people out of the 10 business owners, right? So now that we have received the funding, what is more important is the question of, will I be forgiven? The reason why it's important is very clear cut, right? Because if you're not forgiven, then you have to, repay the entire amount back. So the most of the attendees, if you're joining us here, there are 3 reasons why you're here. Number 1, you have received the money. Number 2, you have been approved. So with many banks, how you know that you're approved is either you receive a DocuSign or you receive a notification from your bank that you've been approved, and there's some kind of paperwork that you had to process, or sometimes they even ask for additional payroll paperwork. So if they ask for additional paperwork, it is important that you reply and respond as soon as possible, because the rules is as such that if you don't respond or they don't hear back from you within a short amount of time, like less than 20 days, then your loan will be cancelled. There's third category of people, so business owners who are currently waiting and you believe that your PPP loan will be approved, then yes, this will also be a webinar that's relevant to you. So before we go into forgiveness topic, I just want to discuss first what's included in payroll costs. So PPP is Paycheck Protection Program, and in our earlier webinar, if you have attended, we define what's payroll costs. Payroll costs is the regular salaries. If you pay commission, because there are some commission employees, those will also be included. Payment for vacation, family, medical, sick leave, severance pay, that's also included. Payment for provision of employee benefits such as group health insurance, that's also included. Payment for SUTA, state unemployment. Every employee, you had to pay federal unemployment and state unemployment, and in these cases, state unemployment taxes will also be included as part of payroll costs. If you're independent contractor, sole proprietor, self-employed individual, then those will also be included. And when we talk about that, we're referring to net earnings, okay? So as a recap, how much can a business owner borrow? You can borrow 2.5 times of your average salary. So there's 2 categories of salaries, right? If you are in operation, if your business is already running in the year of 2019, then it's 2.5 times of your average salaries in the year of 19. If your business is not in existence in 2019, if you just started, say, in 2020, but your business was already in operation before February 15, you're also eligible So that would be the average salary of January and February. You average it out and then you times 2.5. Okay, what's excluded? Just a reminder. So when you're doing this calculation of what needs to be included in payroll and payroll costs and excluded, remember that you cannot pay somebody above $100,000. So in the equation, if you pay somebody $130,000, then you will have to minus the $30,000 because that $30,000 will not be forgiven. Okay, and also as a reminder, you have to exclude the FICA portion, the employer portion of payroll taxes, and that refers to Social Security taxes and Medicare portion. Again, it's a reminder, it's employer portion, it is not employee portion. And there's some important point here, such as if you pay somebody that is a resident outside US, then it is also not forgiven. Okay, you cannot pay somebody who's residing outside of US. Qualified leave wages allowed under Families First Coronavirus Response Act. So these are like qualified leave wages, and I don't think that's applicable to a lot of business owners here that's joining this session, so I wouldn't be spending too much time on this. The PPP loan amount calculation, right? So again, we have already talked about this, is maximum loan amount approved is 2.5 times average total monthly payroll costs incurred during 2019. Now, there's a little bit of confusion for S corporation. I know like some business owners, some banks actually ask you to provide distribution records. So as an S corporation, you pay yourself by way of salaries, which is W-2, and you also could actually issue checks and call it dividend distribution. Right? Some banks are asking how much is your dividend distribution and what is your payroll, but clearly right now the CARES Act actually talk about rewarding people or approving loan based on the 2.5 of your payroll, and distribution is actually not included. Okay, so the next question is, will this loan be forgiven? It is important. If you get the loan, you want to make sure that you don't have to repay back, right? So under CARES Act, the loan is definitely 100% forgivable, but what you have to remember as a business owner is it is called Paycheck Protection Program. So what does that mean? That means that it should go towards payroll, salaries and wages, and the minimum is at least it needs to be 75%. For the remaining 25%, what is allowable expenses would include utilities, rent, and interest payment. So for example, if you have mortgage and your mortgage is say $1,200 and the principal payment is $1,000 and $200 is interest, then that interest payment will be considered part of this amount. Okay, what is the time frame? The time frame is 8 weeks. So we have business owners who say that, no, we're not going to reopen until June. You cannot wait till June, because once you receive the money, you have 8 weeks to utilize the funds for paycheck payroll purposes. Okay, monitor funds in separate bank account. We do strongly recommend that because it's just a lot easier for you to prove. And this is a scenario where, say you have a regular checking account, and in your regular checking account, you utilize the funds to pay for other operating expenses, dues, subscriptions, or any other office expenses. You cannot count that as part of your forgivable amount. That's why there is a lot of recommendation to set up a separate bank account, simply because it is a lot easier for you to track and monitor the utilization of the funds. If you are not forgiven, then yes, you have to repay back. The repayment starts in the 7th month, and it's for 2 years of repayment at 1% of interest. Still pretty good. Okay, next slide we talk about what is forgivable, and we have talked about only interest is forgivable. In our previous seminar, we have also talked about PPP. The forgiveness is not automatic. It's not like EIDL. for PPP, you actually do need to talk to your banker and you need to submit sufficient documentation to ask for forgiveness. Okay, let's talk about the 8-week period. The reason why the 8-week period is important is because you only really have 8 weeks. After you receive the funds, after you receive PPP, you only have about 2 months to spend all the money. So here are some bullet points. First, bank must make a one-time full disbursement. So if you receive PPP funds, your banks are not going to pay you in few payments. It will be one lump sum payment. PPP loan is considered approved, so which means if you receive notification, then that's when most likely when you receive your notification. For many of us, you also within a couple of days actually receive the funds, and that's when your 8-week period will begin. Bank is not responsible for any delays in disbursement, so all the business owners, if you receive notification, we have cases where you have already received a notification from banks that you are approved, but you have not seen the money. Now, if you have not seen the money for like 3, 4, or 5 days, I strongly recommend that you need to contact your banker. Loans for which funds have not been disbursed because the borrower has not submitted required loan documentation within 20 calendar days. So this is where in the application process, sometimes they do come back and ask you questions. Very common questions is for whatever amount that you apply for, they sometimes ask you to break down the percentage of 75% or 25%. What are you going to utilize the funds for? How much is for rent and how much is for utilities? Sometimes they also ask for your 2019 941s, right? In a case where you submit your payroll register, some banks think that that's not good enough. They want your W-2 copies and they want your 941s. You have to very quickly upload the documents and very quickly submit it back, or else your loan will be cancelled. Okay, how to have 100% of your loan forgiven. So the actual amount of loan forgiveness will depend on total payroll costs, because this is Paycheck Protection Program. So a lot of it is going to be honestly your payroll. And remember, when we talk about payroll, we're not talking about all the payroll costs. We're not talking about the employer portion of taxes. We're really talking about gross and some SUTA and any bonus payment if you're issuing that. So 75% has to be at least for payroll. The remaining 25%, it can be for interest, rent payments, utility payments, but it has to be under a service agreement that was already in place before February the 15th. Which means if you rent a new office in March and you receive funds in April, you cannot use that funds and treat it as part of the forgivable amount simply because the service agreement, the rent agreement, was not in place before February 15. Okay, so 75% we talk about it over the 8-week period. So we have business owners who contact us once they receive the funds. So many people receive, and some said that, well, 2019 I have a tax balance of 20,000. Why don't I use the PPP funds to pay back my tax balance in 2019? Can you do that? The answer is no. It is for Paycheck Protection Program, not 2019 repay your tax balance program. Okay, all right. How to have 100% of loan forgiven. So this is just a very simple example, and this is from SBA. And again, I have to stress that for those of you who want to read more, you can always go to the SBA website, and you can also refer to the actual CARES Act. So a simple example is, say if it's 12 months payroll, 120,000, and then average FTE. So average monthly payroll, say we have 10 people and then each month is 10,000. So you times 2.5, you get 25,000. 75% is 18,750. So which means, say May the 1st, you receive the PPP funding of 25,000. How many weeks do you have to spend the 25,000? The answer is you have 8 weeks. You must spend everything within the 8 weeks, once you get approved. Okay, so how much do you have to spend? You have to spend at least 75% of 25,000, which is 18,750 on payroll. The rest of it you can spend on rent, mortgage, interest, utilities, and that will be the 25%. My recommendation is if you can spend 80%, even better. Okay, so the next slide, this would be, a good way. This is just to show, if you're a business owner, I do recommend that once you receive the funds, you really should, go and calculate how many paychecks, right? And how many employees. So first you determine on the loan document, it should say, what's your average FTE. So you want to make sure that, your average numbers of employees on your second quarter 941 would actually match up with the loan document, because your forgiveness is dependent on your average number of employees, right? So there's the first thing. The second thing is that you count for this 8-week period, how many paychecks are you gonna need to issue, right? And then you total up what's the budget, right? Every business owner, you should already have a ballpark of how much does it cost for each payroll. And then, you calculate each payroll and you tally them up and you total up. Group health insurance, if you have them, it's also included in the equation. So you total them up, and if you have the remaining 25%, you put in the amount, right? So for this particular case, this business owner got approved for 43,000. So what he or she's planning to do is that 86% is going to go towards the payroll and also group health insurance, and 14% will be for rent for 2 months. So this will be something that you want to make sure you do. So for those of you, for every one of you who receive PPP, you need to have a PPP payroll cash flow planning. You need to make sure that you plan properly. Every 2 weeks, when you run payroll, are you running the correct amount? Are you gonna be? Don't wait till last minute. Okay, don't wait till last minute and then you go back and calculate. Okay, have I spent enough money? And then I have to issue bonus for everybody, right? What prevents my loan from being forgiven? Okay, so there are 3 important things. One is that if you fail to demonstrate that 75% is for payroll. Example, if you use some of the money to pay your 2019 tax balance, then you're not going to qualify. Second, if you fail to maintain your staff and payroll. So the PPP program is for you to not fire anybody, for people not to go out of jobs during the pandemic. So it's so important that you still continue to hire your staff. Now the rule did not say that if your staff don't want to work, they just want to stay at home because they're so afraid of virus, they don't want to do anything, they just want to stay home. You cannot force people to go to work, right? You cannot force people to come to your office, hey, because I received PPP. No, you can't do that. But according to the law, you have up to June 30th to rehire, right? So you don't have to rehire the same person. If you can fill the position with another person, that's completely fine, right? So you would still be forgiven. If you cut your salaries by more than 25%, so if you cut your salaries too drastically, then the amount of forgiveness will also be limited, will also be reduced. Okay, so the next slide is, what do you need to prove? It's really important. So for this 8-week period, the documentation verifying number of full-time employees on payroll, covered mortgage interest payments, covered rent, covered utilities are really important. So I'll give you some examples. You probably want to ask your accountant or payroll processing company to provide payroll summary, payroll details. The reason why payroll details is important is because payroll details would actually show the rates, right? Rates per employee, and the condition is that you're not supposed to cut their salaries. So the payroll details is going to show, their average rate. and then the 941 reports, which is the quarterly report for second quarter, paid invoices and receipts. So if you have any receipts for your utilities payment, you do need to have a copy of it. Any check copies, you write a rent checks to your landlord, you probably want to make a copy and submit it together. In addition to that, your lender will also require that you have a certification to prove that all the documents that you have submitted are true, and that you use the forgiveness amount to keep employees and make eligible mortgage, interest, rent, utility payments. And once you submit that, so first of all, after you finish the 8 weeks, right, then the question is, how much do I have in order to prepare all these documents? You would have 3 months to prepare this document, but of course, if you ask me, within the 8 weeks, you should be already preparing those documents and be ready to submit it right away, right away once you finish your 8 weeks. So you contact your bank, you prepare a certification with all the documents, and you submit it. Once you submit it, the bank is supposed to get back to you whether your amount is forgivable or your amount has been forgiven within 60 days. Okay, so 2 months. 2 months, and the bank is supposed to tell you whether you have to repay back. When to ask for forgiveness. Remember, you must apply for forgiveness within 90 days of the end of the 8-week period. Lenders have 60 days to decide. Whatever is not forgiven is paid back at 1% interest across 2 years. Okay, if I were you, once I receive the PPP funds, I will contact my banker just to make sure that, hey, do I submit the paperwork to you or do I email it to someone, just to make sure that you have, your ducks in a row. Okay, so the next portion, I'm gonna invite our accounting staff to also present to you during this time how do you use the cash flow runway, which is a very effective tool for any business owners to be tracking and monitoring your funds and your cash flow position real-time 24/7. Okay, I'm gonna invite her.
Hey everyone, it's Tasha. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the new cash flow runway that we have on our Epic Ledger dashboard. So for those of you that are OSC subscribers, or in other words, One Self Club, you will have access to this new cash flow runway. So on your dashboard, you can click up here. Okay, so here is the cash flow runway tool. So there's inflow and outflow, and basically this tool will help you determine how much cash flow you have left remaining to last X amount of days. So this one, the client has enough cash flow to last them over 6 months. Now for cash flow right here for the inflow section, we have cash flow as of March 2020. So for this, they have $17,000 in the bank as of March 31st, 2020. So this will always be as of the last date of the month. And then projected monthly cash collections is your income coming into your bank account. So mostly all of your deposits minus any loans that are coming in. Because any loans that are coming in will be cash infusions because they're more like one-time type of things. For example, a lot of us got PPP. So here we would put, how much PPP we got right here. So let's go ahead and do a projection of our monthly cash collections, and we think that it's going to go down since we're all experiencing the virus together. Our sales is down by 30,000. So here you can see the cash flow projection automatically updates right after you update your monthly projected cash, and this is an average. So we only have 89 days left of cash before our business, comes to a halt. Cash infusion, let's just say we got 50,000 from PPP. Now we are back up to 6 months, so we'll last over 6 months. So now for the outflow section, we have expenses, debt repayment, payable, outstanding. So for expenses, we can either update it one by one if we need to increase or decrease certain expenses, or we can just do it as a whole. a whole number, like monthly, we think that we're going to spend X amount of money. So you can go ahead and update that there. We also included debt repayment because that does eat into our cash flow. We do have to pay off our debts. For example, if we have like a car payment or a loan payment that we currently have, then we do need to add that in. So let's just say we have to pay $500 per month. So that'll update the cash flow projection as well. Payable outstanding, this can be, for example, if you track bills and you're on accrual basis, then those bills, those expenses have already been captured whenever you record the bill. So this is just us owing money, so we can't double up the expense, but that's still money that we owe. So for payable outstanding, let's just say per month we pay maybe $1,500 out, and then that'll update as well. So after you update all of the inflow and outflow sections, the cash flow runway will show you how much time you have left until you don't have any more cash flow left, and it will help you plan better, help you budget better. So if you have any questions about the cash flow runway, you can feel free to call us or email me at accountant@xkeycpahouston.com.
Okay, so for those of you, I know that you probably will have more questions. Okay, so I want to share these links and resources. These resources are really taken from one of the SBA presentations, so just to make sure that these are all legit. So there's an official guide from sba.gov. There's also a PPP fact sheets for borrowers. I think that those are really good because it does give you like the detail, especially like the certification criteria. They give you all that. There's a FAQs, some very good questions, and then CARES Act, of course, the 800 something pages. There's a disbursement guidance. I think that's more for financial institutions. And then there's also a supplemental official guidance. If you love to read more information about forgiveness related to PPP topic, you can go to links and resources, and we will definitely post it on our website. If you need more information about any PPP EIDL or even the traditional EIDL, do check out our website. Is www.xkeycpa.houston.com/COVID-19. There's also a lot more webinars. Check out our YouTube. We also have a lot of information for people who don't get approved for PPP. If you need more information and resources, we have all of those on our YouTube channel. Okay, my last piece, for advice for business owners. To any business owners, congratulations if you have been approved for the PPP program. This is really a very good time, and in fact the best time to plan ahead. I would recommend for everyone to take the time to understand your financials, especially right now in this situation. Many business owners ask, if my revenue is not affected by the pandemic, or if my revenue is affecting, if my revenue has been affected by the pandemic, what really are the changes to my tax position? So, do I still have to make, quarterly payments or estimated payments? I definitely think that, this year we're seeing a lot of fluctuations, changes to situations. We're seeing business owners investing more, back to, marketing and expanding the business because they feel like now they receive more funds, to support and pay employees to hire people. There's a lot more that you can do. So I definitely think cash flow planning is important. Take for instance, if you're a restaurant, you hire all these people, but PPP did not say that, if you buy any supplies or equipment, you'll be forgiven, and it's part of the forgivable amount, right? So you do need to understand your cash flow position to drive your business. So to wrap up, I know we will have a Q&A questions and answers session, and we're going to try to answer as many questions as possible, and a lot of times these are really important and good questions. So please stay tuned, please don't leave. And if you have more questions after that, you can definitely email me. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll start taking questions right now.